RSN Racing and Sport has teamed up with the biggest show in golf, America's PGA Tour.
Oh, nearly made it.
Each week, you'll hear the action live on RSN Extra 2. It's all thanks to the PGA Tour, seen in Australia on Foxtel and KO, and now heard on RSN Extra 2. That's on the RSN app, digital radio in Melbourne, and at rsn.net.au.
Greyhound fans are loving grey areas. Twice a week on RSN, all the Victorian Greyhound news, the mail, your text, a few laughs, and George has the famous Ferrugia files, thanks to the Black Book on the Watchdog app.
Yes, Jason, as well as giving my best selections for the upcoming races around the state.
Green light, set to go, and away.
RSN's Grey Areas Wednesday and Friday from 12 noon, then up on the podcast.
Presented by the Watchdog app.
Racing people love Ribera's. John Sadler.
The racing crowd loves to catch up at Ribera's for that freshest seafood prepared by the best in town.
Ribera's means simply sensational seafood, a favourite of the racing fraternity, the footy world, and, well, anyone who has that seafood passion.
I've been coming here for years, so let me tell you, Ribera's is the best seafood dining in Melbourne.
Exhilarate your seafood senses. Ribera's in Port Melbourne.
Tomorrow's menu is still swimming.
And at riberas.com.au.
On RSN Racing and Sport, it's time for the Grey Areas with Jason Adams and George Ferrugia.
That kid was a human dynamo.
Are you sure you're talking about George?
George of the jungle, friend to you and me.
Good afternoon, welcome to Grey Areas, and what a night at the office it was last night. Action at the Q was red hot. A ripping contest at Sandown, which we'll speak about soon, that had explicit fans just about in a coma. My name's Jason Adams. I'm joined by the fittest 45-year-old in Essendon, George Ferrugia. Good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon, mate. How are you?
I'm well. John Henry, welcome to the Grey Areas for the... Geez, we almost chalked up 12 months. It's been a while now, but good afternoon to you.
Good to see you both.
Now, George, you're into helping people out, correct?
Yeah, it depends who the person is. But
well,
yeah,
particularly people when it comes to the greyhound racing. I got a message from a colleague of mine at GRV, Dan. He goes, what are your plans on Saturday around 12:30? The Rezzies are short by a lot. Do you want to have a run? Wow. Followed by, what's George Ferrugia doing on Saturday?
They need a
So
ruckman.
is there any chance, now that you're the fittest bloke in greyhound racing, that you can have a run in the twos tomorrow?
I would, but I've got to look after the kids. Cheryl's got a hairdressing appointment, and that's the true story.
That wouldn't go down well if you pulled the pin to pull the boots
Do they
on.
need a forward pocket or a ruckman? I can play both.
You and the ruck.
Be all right, wouldn't
You
it?
taking a chair or a ladder or something?
How was your Spanish feast for your birthday the other night?
Yeah, nice, mate. It was all good. What about I come in here and there's Collingwood fans nervous about the St Kilda game?
Oh, please.
That's Bensley.
Come on.
Bensley.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Even Trent Mason held a walking out just saying nervous about the Blues rolling north.
Jeez. A couple of teams that should be on stewards reports weekly.
Come on.
Anyway.
Hey, this morning, George, there's been some big news. Well, big news is one way to put it. That come out of Sandown Park trial session. Now, there's been a greyhound go around, and if you're familiar with splits at Sandown, have a listen to this. 5 flats, 18.59, 28.98, broken 29, 10.39 on the way home. Now, when you hear 5 seconds flat,
Explicit. It's going around again, is it?
you think of the name Kenya All Class. The
No.
answer's no.
Don't usually. No.
But he's gone like a rocket. So wherever he goes to next, I mean, you don't learn a lot, do you, George, from a type of greyhound that he is, where he's normally out the back and running on.
Yeah. The
Doing
split
it in a solo
surprised me.
trial, you don't read a lot into outside of that he's absolutely flying.
The overall time doesn't surprise us, does it?
No.
The splits do.
No.
Yeah. It would be frustrating for Connections because in a race, he's never 5 flatted in his life. But that's he's a Group 1 winner. It's not like he's a trial dog against a race dog, but because he's accomplished and reached the highest mountain. But that would be of some frustration for Connections, I'd suggest.
Hopefully we see him in heats of the McKenna at Sandown next Thursday night, but we'll hold our breath and wait for the fields to come out on Monday. Speaking of some other greyhounds doing good things that aren't racing at this point in time, McKenna. Now, she's only a few weeks from returning. We haven't seen her since August last year, where through the middle part of 2024, George, she seemed to be one of the more promising sprinters going around. Took out a golden Easter egg and you thought, what's next? She was earmarked for the Phoenix before it all fell down, but thankfully she's not too far off returning.
Beautiful. Just fantastic habits as a chaser, isn't she? I mean, she gets to the front, records unbelievable splits, and her overall time is great too. So it'd be great to see her back. In her void, though, we've got some unbelievable. That racing last night, Jason, at the Q, I know you were watching intently, was incredible, wasn't it? Is that where we're going next? Or do you want to
we'll be
talk
where
about...
we go next. And look, we speak about McKenna. Scalacci's another one where we got a text in on Wednesday suggesting he was controversially scratched from the Pink Diamond. There was nothing controversial about it. He just wasn't worth the risk, and Tel decided to give him a rest. So he'll be trialling after the last at Ballarat on Monday, and hopefully racing soon after that and joining these ranks that are just absolutely highballing at the moment. Let's go to Sandown first last night with that outstanding battle that we knew we were going to get between Explicit and Bagman. We thought Explicit would go straight to the front and absolutely dominate. Didn't exactly play out that way, and here's the closing stages thanks to Mr. Nathalia, Daniel Hibbard.
Explicit now gets a length and a half in front. They went 5:08, 18:74. Explicit, Bagman's got the inside run. He is giving him a real race here. Explicit, Bagman. Oh, he just got in. Explicit has just got in by a head. Bagman ran the race of his life and nearly knocked him off. Nangard Jim was third, about 6 lengths away.
So they've gone 29-20 on George, and he didn't get the start right. He was bumped early. He was under the pump turning for home, and still won in fast time. Bagman was very good, but I think that the performance of Explicit has to be noted as well.
Never in doubt for mine. Nathalia did a great job.
Even turning for home?
Yes, he's had him covered. Had him absolutely covered. He got turned sideways at the start. He was going to be 4 in front and then 6 down the back. Like, it's just... It could have almost gone close to breaking 29 again. I mean, he's just a special animal, isn't he?
It's funny you say that. During the day, I sent a list of the top 20 fastest times ever to Mr. Nathalia, just thinking it's unlikely, but FYI, if it does get to that tonight.
Just quickly, that's the importance of having head-on shots. And if we get them on Sky or people go back and watch the replays, he actually got turned sideways, that dog. For him to gather again and still run 5:08 early, he's a machine. This is why there's been females flocking to him since he semi-retired, and one day will retire for good.
He's an absolute gun. It was great to see him go around. Despite it not being a betting proposition, it was just so good to see Explicit.
But he's not the best dog in Australia at the moment.
Well, we'll get to that. I think he is. Okay. We'll have that debate later on.
Have that debate?
Who is?
A dog in Queensland called Tim Zoo, who is a Victorian.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Tim from Kilsyth, FYI, get involved.
I tell you what.
0416 90 50 52. And speaking of Sandown, as I said before, those heats of the McKenna Memorial are next Thursday night over the 595 metres. So always a good series, and we've got a pretty good depth of the middle distance ranks at the moment, George, that hopefully we'll all see there next week. Yeah,
and good tipping from you with Vista Weird. It was a greyhound I tipped, and I hope the punters followed up, but I hope they listened to you because he paid $7.40. He fell
out to 8 or 9 close to the jump.
Took a tumble at the Meadows, was all good. Come back. I keep saying $29.85 as a young greyhound, and he can run 600 metres. He's another son of Hooked on Scotch who had a red letter night last night, but to run 34.12 against Ethanol Secret was a big run, Vista Weird, yesterday. So well done. Hopefully people jumped into your mail yesterday, mate.
And we got one in race 11 too.
Yeah. And tell you what, we nearly got 2 out of 2. We got the last. We got Urana Cobalt remember we tipped it at $2.60. But what about Aston Freddy? When Crutching Tommy was behind and Aston Freddy got to the front, I thought we're home here. But Stacey's mum got us on the line, so that was that. But Urana Cobalt ran 29.33, so it wasn't a fair run. Yeah,
gapped them in the last. All right, let's move on to the action in Brisbane last night at the Q, and it was just amazing. Brilliance of the Brisbane Cup, and I think the consistency of this series year after year is why it's possibly my favourite series of the year. I think there's ones of bigger stakes and bigger significance down here in Victoria, but the consistency of which we see good dogs go around week after week is unrivaled, and we saw some good coverage last night, and I want to touch on that as well, George, because we've put it to our listeners in the past month or two about ideas that we can have to improve the presentation of greyhound racing on TV. And we've seen the drone in use at the Q in the past couple of weeks. What are what are your thoughts on the drone and what it provides?
Love the footage. It provides you with to show that whether greyhounds are getting interfered with or a greyhound's just pushing off the track a little bit. It gives you that great synopsis of the race. look, some of the drone footage works really well, some of it not so well. So I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it live during the race, even though they did some of that yesterday. But in regards to replays, Jason, I'm all for it. If we could, I mean, obviously there's probably some financial restraints, but if you could have that at most important meetings, I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Are the dogs aware of it?
That was the concern when I was
They
working.
don't get distracted?
When I was first working at the Meadows, that's the first thing they ask.
Yeah.
Can they hear the sound? Because obviously they're pretty sensitive with their sound. So I'm not sure if the technology has evolved or it's that high up where they don't hear it. It doesn't seem to bother them. I thought the greyhounds coming out from the kennel block, Jace, was it
was like a race at the MCG, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's a minute touch, but it's something different, like a boxer coming out, putting his gloves on for the first. I just thought it just worked. It just worked. So they're doing some nice things over there.
Yeah, luckily it was the drone shot that actually provided that shot of him walking out of the grandstand.
Yeah.
So awesome stuff. We'll see it for the next couple of weeks. I've got no doubt after that. We'll wait and see, but it was definitely a winner from building the colour and atmosphere point of view at the Q last night. In terms of what happened on the track, we'll speak about the 600 metre first. And your girl, Gold Scotch, got the chocolates, was up against Gambella and she found all sorts, but your girl went to the front and went bang.
Yeah, really proud of her win. Gambella was in all sorts of trouble. Like you said, her run was enormous. But to have Boracay Summer pretty much on our tail the whole way around, I was really proud of the way she ran. And the time wasn't there, which who cares because she's beating good dogs. But it told me that the track was a bit soft. Because
what have you heard from chatter from the Q last night?
I spoke to two trainers that the track was definitely on the softer side. And then if we want to talk about the preludes, those two greyhounds of Thompson's, the first two to come out and run 29.99 and 29.82, to give people a guide. We're talking about Flying Zulu and Excavation. They're 29.20, 29.30 dogs at the Q. There's no doubt about that. So the track was, I would say it would be, and it might have improved as the night went on, but I'd say at a pinch, Jace, it was probably 6 or 7 lengths off.
So we speak about those two, and now it's time to talk about Tim Zhu, because he was visually really impressive, but the time that he went 29.2, considering what you've just told us, must be unbelievable.
He went a length outside the track record, Jason, on a track that wasn't conducive to fast times. And there were dogs that are grade 5 dogs, not in his class, afterwards that were running 16 lengths slower than him. For me, I have not seen a greyhound in this form. His last 3 weeks, Jason, have been just stupid. He beat Mapungari Ward, who broke a track record in the trial. He beat a Group 1 winner in Bourne Model, who has trialled really fast there, and blew them away. And again, I spoke to a couple of trainers who said he was going to smash 29 seconds to smithereens. The track record's 29.15. He went 29.2 on a slow track, and he's 4 in October. An incredible training performance, and for me, the in-form and fastest dog in the country right now. Now, that's not to say he's just going to waltz the Brisbane Cup in, because, if he draws out wide, even though he's handled wide draws at the Meadows in recent times, but if he draws close to the fence, Jace, I don't know how they beat him.
And just before we get to this next race at Healesville, Johnny, drop this audio of Johnny Brash calling Tim Zhu home last night. It was sensational.
Tim Zhu off and gone off the back, 7 clear. Moving to second, Dr. Asher, then Mapungara Ward and Bourne Model. But Team Thompson dominate. Tim Zhu by 6 lengths, Mapungara Ward out of the pack. Dr. Asher followed by Bourne Model.
He's one of the best callers of good dogs in the country. I've got no doubt about that, Johnny Brash, and he did a great job again last night. All right, before we continue our chat about what happened at the Q last night, let's get to Healesville for the first leg of the quaddie, and a familiar name as the favourite here. Not the greyhound's name in Nitrous, but the trainer's Bert Vandermaat, the father of James Vandermaat. He's Victoria Shaw, race 5, Healesville.
So we're getting set. Moving in here at Healesville, as we welcome the team in with grey areas on RSN as well. A very good afternoon to the team there. Now Nitrous for Bert Vandermaat to run the short price select. Box number 2, now into $1.95. Good support RLA 2, $5.50. Box number 7. Getting set. Green light is switched on. We're ready to run. Nitrous the favourite in 2. The green light's on. And they're often chasing. Nitrous a little slow to step, but ducked in towards the rail. Getting away nicely there, Brewery Luck up the centre. Merivale Girl from Sturgis. Ali there as well. Out in the deep runs, Unleashing. Tearing away looks to be Ali at this point there. Brewery Luck getting the run on the inside now as Jobs On from Lose My Number and Nitrous as they go towards the line. It's Jobs On out in front. Here comes Nitrous. Does he get there? No. Jobs On from the late go there from Nitrous, who's run second again. In third place next was Lose My Number. Brewery Luck, Merivale Girl, Sturgis, Unleashing, one of the last in, and the time on the board 19:65. Close go again, but I suspect Jobs On has hung on from Nitrous, who didn't get away to the best of starts, but he's flashed up late again to run second, I suspect, and Lose My Number back on the inside. Numbers in the frame now. Number 3, Jobs On, has won. Number 3, Jobs On, from, as we wait in second place officially. Number 3's in the frame. Number 2, Nitrous, second again. 3 from 2. And just awaiting third place, I suspect that'll be Lose My Number on the inside. Yes, 3, 2 and 1. And just awaiting fourth place, 3, 2 and 1 in the frame here at the Ville on the 5th event. 19:65 the race time. The run home 12:96 and fourth in number 4, Brewery Luck. 3, 2, 1 and 4. 3, 2, 1 and 4. Jobs On.
So, Victoria, thank you. The 4 inside boxes is the combination there. 3, 2, 1 and 4. Divs in a moment. Back to the grey areas in just a tick, but we also need to tackle a quick look at the next with Mark Hunter from this morning at Geelong at the Gallops with Adam Olzanski. 2 pickup rides in the next. Jordan Childs with number 12, Super Grace, and Zach Spain has been assigned number 19, Too Much Too Soon, if you haven't got those late rider changes. And with Bet365, your favourite at $3.70 is number 16, Lope Delado. And Craig Williams is looking for the earliest of doubles with the second favourite here.
15, 16, 17, 4. Number 15, Mareth, who ran well on debut at Pakenham, then was in and scratched twice before that Mornington race and just was out the gate. So I'd say it had had a little setback going into that race. Even so, it ran okay. It was back. It wasn't really suited back and wide, but battled on well for fourth. I think a lot fitter for that run. Mareth can run well to beat the 2 out the same race. Number 16, Lope Delado, who was well backed, got back to the middle of the pack. It was very hard to make ground, even though the winner did. Not many others did. It ran well. 17, Conical Net, has got good speed. Will go forward, give you a sight. And 4, Parish Priest. I put every possible running second on debut and thought was out of tickets on the line, but maybe fitter for that run. 15, 16, 17 and 4.
And at Healesville, number 3, Jobs On, $10.30 and $2.40. 2, Nitrous, $1.70. 1, Lose My Number, $1.40 and 4, Brewery Luck. The Quinella, $9.60. Exacta, $25. Trifecta, $69. And the first 4, $257 for 3, 2, 1 and 4. The running double gents, 2 and 3, $21.
Before we round out our chat at the Q last night, George, we'll speak about the Superstayers shortly, but you're wrapping up Tim Zoo. We saw Jared Daffy on Twitter suggest that he's the best greyhound in Australia at this point in time. Are you of that opinion as well?
Right now he is, yeah, Jace. Because
why is he better than Explicit?
Well, I just think that we see great fast greyhounds run fast time all the time, but for him to have such a discrepancy against his kennel mates, that run last night was out of this world. I understand what you're saying about Explicit because he's got probably better traits out of a box sometimes, that early speed. But Tim Zoo, the way he's racing at the moment, and if people go and watch that replay, that Mapunga Reward actually beat him, his run was enormous that day as well. So, I don't know, I just think he's going so well, and he'd be where my money is for a pre-post market for the Brisbane Cup. Again, he needs a lot of luck if he draws out wide, but he made his own luck last week. He went low 5s to the mark, which is pretty good there. It's going to get you into a good position. If he adds that to his run home and what he does, and his will to win is there, Jace, too. Incredible greyhound.
The main event of last night's card at the Q was the Superstayers, the 4-dog race that was made up of a Pillar, Autumn Storm, Ethanol Water, and also Raiders Guide, who won the race, George. And as much as he's getting on in his career, he's a veteran status now. He's past 4 years of age. He keeps winning big races. And after the Sandown Cup, he focused on his Superstayers race and he's got the job done.
Yeah, and in fast time as well, Jason. And didn't have things pretty much his own way early either. I mean, he had to work for his victory and he defeated a fellow Group 1 winner in Ethanol Water and Autumn Storm and a Pillar as well. She's a Group 1 winner, so it was an incredible victory. Again, like you said, getting long in the tooth, but still racing very well. Has to be one of the leading chances going in. Again, he's got that great ability to get into a good position early and then run out the 700 metres. What a star he's been for Gary Fay.
He's a gun. Next week at the Q, we'll see heats of the Brisbane Cup and also the Queensland Cup for the Stays as well. So it'll be one of the best cards that we've seen for a little bit here in Australian greyhound racing. Very much looking forward to that. Locally last night, George, we spoke about Sandown, but also at Warrnambool. There was a couple of points of interest. Now, the biggest of those was Mapunga Flyer.
I thought you were going to say Tribeca.
Well, we'll get to Tribeca, but Mapunga Flyer, who is just oozing future star at this point in time, isn't he? He announced himself through the Pink Diamond Series. He was a length off Matt Locke's track record last night, and he's all but certain he will now head to the Maturity Series at the Meadows in July.
Raps were big on this greyhound when he was pre-training, and I think Jeff Britton has been mentioned in an article saying he's probably one of the fastest greyhounds he's had. I've spoken to Barry Smith, and he said he's probably one of the fastest greyhounds he's had at a break-in age. And now he's putting it all together, Jay. 6:52 early, 24:71 if you don't mind at Warrnambool. But we can't forget your greyhound too, who you have as your selection for the Phoenix, and that's Tribeca, who still went 25:11 and is slowly coming back probably to where we want him to be. There's no doubt he could break 25 seconds as well, but two very special greyhounds.
Yeah, well, in the draft format of which we did the Phoenix selections, in having
would you
pick
have gone
six or whatever it is.
before Tribeca?
Who?
Would you have gone Mapunga Flyer before Tribeca
definitely,
he wasn't taken?
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. He's better than that Tribeca, but good to see him back on the winners list for the first time since March and just his second start since a semi-final of the launching pad. So two big performers there at the Bull last night.
We've got Tim from Kilsyth, finally.
He's alive.
Wondering
There's a
where
pulse.
he was. They all came in swag. Boys, I heard a rumour that they've already etched Tim Zoo's name on the Queensland Cup. It's immoral.
He's not winning the Queensland Cup,
Well, he
Tim.
won't
He
be
can't
in
win
Queensland. Yeah, that's the staying race, Tim.
Brisbane Cup.
And we don't jump the gun. Sorry, boys, I was loading a truck, but you stole my thunder. Tim Zoo is by far the best greyhound in Australia. He's a bloody ripper. Tim from Kilsyth, back with a bang. Another text message. Hi, Grey Areas team. I watched the Preludes last night. One to watch. Massive run by Morton. It was a good run too. A couple of the old timers coming back and rewinding the clock, Jace, and they'll be a force to be
It's
reckoned
good to
with
see.
next
A
week.
couple more there too. Pretty fair up-and-comer at the Bull. 24/70s from number ending in 611. Of course, that was Mapunga Flyer.
Yeah.
And the other one, g'day, George. Well done with Johnny Football yesterday in New Zealand. Was too good for the luckless Chief Dribble. Regards, Jamie.
Not sure if Chief Dribble was luckless. We had his measure. Hope
How's
James,
that?
owners
The
James
confidence
Shaw and
there,
Jeff
Dinkum.
Britton.
Where was his appearance in the Ferrugia Files on Wednesday?
No, I think you might have missed him.
I missed plenty. You've got about 63 syndicates going around Australia
don't.
and New Zealand.
I don't. Well, somebody's got to syndicate.
They do. Well, yeah, spot on. Ironic. All right, the Meadows tomorrow night. Not a bad card, and we spoke about Tribeca at the Bull yesterday, and Team Menace have their other stars going to the Meadows tomorrow night. Alice Babe, Zipping Grillis, Lanfranco, Zipping Hopkins. Firstly, Alice Babe. Now, she's over 600 metres for the first time since June, which was her 7th career start. Tomorrow night is career start number 33. Interesting.
Out of the frying pan into the fire. That's not an easy 600-metre race. She's drawn off the... I can't see how she wins that. I'm happy
Well, she
to be
takes so
proven
long
wrong.
to wind up.
Yeah.
She's going to leave it late.
That's a tough race. Look, clearly, she's talented enough to win it, but the way she's been going over 700, where she's taken a while to wind up, I think that's going to be tough for her. Yeah.
And of the other ones, Zipping Grillis lines up in the free-for-all. I mean, it's a couple of yours, which we'll speak about soon in Valenzuela and also Mackinac Peach. But for Grillis, it does look to be an assignment that's probably easier than his past couple where he's met Excavation and also Field Day.
I think winnable is the word you're looking for, Jace, there. Yep.
Oh, well, I haven't gone through it, but he looks like he should win the race.
Yeah, should be very hard to beat.
And then the other ones are Lanfranco and Zipping Hopkins, who line up in the same race. So that'll be interesting. We'll get to your tips soon. I know you're optimistic about Zipping Hopkins, but you just don't know what Lanfranco's going to turn up. But he's got a much better draw than what he had at Geelong last Friday in the Pink Diamond race.
And a crazy PB, right? Over
Ridiculous.
600.
Well, he's one of the fastest dogs in Australia when he puts it together, no doubt about it.
I think he's broken 34 at Sandown, hasn't he, Lanfranco? I'm sure of it.
He would have, for sure.
Yeah.
Tips for the Meadows tomorrow night.
Really keen on one in the Angela.
Oh, here we go.
Panel, race 3, number 2, Come to Party. And again, that dropping class for Urana Cobalt worked for us last night. And I think it's a similar vein here with Come to Party. Been racing against some handy greyhounds, including In the Hub and Doongala Rocket. Shows good enough early speed to be hard to beat. Race 3, number 2. And I'm keen on Zipping Hopkins in that 600-metre race, Jace. I'm not sure what your thoughts are. Race 9, number 7. I know he flops out of a box, but he should just zoom up and be very, very hard to beat. With a lap out, he should be close enough and then really start to work into his motor. 34.30 PB, should be winning race 9, number 7.
Time to get the Geelong Gallops for race 2, and Adamo is the man on track, and he's tipped at 15 here. Mareth at $13. Favourites number 16, Elope Delado at $3.40 with Craig Williams on board. Let's get to Adamo, race 2 at Geelong.
Akaya's behind the gates, the Dabenham Yard, making its race debut. So Akaya, Russian for Ocean, and this one by Russian Camelot out of Ocean Bloom. Akaya goes in. So they're assembling well. I note the backing for Willingham is very keen in the preliminary. All the red earmuffs which have since been removed, but really was headstrong going around to the start under Jet Stanley. So hopefully didn't overdo it. Jewel of Heaven with the red cap, the second of the Geelong runners, goes in. Here's Mareth. Craig Newitt. Conical Net, the second of the Godolphin runners. White cap. And Astari for Liam Reardon. Celebrating his birthday today. And he rides the newcomer for the Walker Yard. So Right Mate Maiden, 12 metres. Astari about to walk up. $26 chance. So Lope Delado in orange colours. The popular electors. The 2-year-olds are set. Race number 2. There's the signal. And they're away. Akaya a little slow, and Fedora goes back early. Too much too soon, one of the first out, but Willingham goes through to head it now for the lead. Conical Net is back in third spot. Lope Delado is fourth, inside of Super Grace, and then Jewel of Heaven, Akaya. Next is Mareth, and then Parish Priest getting back to third last from Fedora, and Astari went back from the outside gate last. 800 to go, and it's Willingham down the side by a length and a half on Conical Net, and too much too soon. A length to Super Grace. Lope Delado is 3 pairs back on the fence in fifth, and then comes Jewel of Heaven, Akaya. Around the outside, starting to make ground is Mareth, and then Parish Priest who follows. Fedora second last, and Astari. Up to the corner, 4:20 to go. Willingham still making play, tries to get away from Conical Net as they straighten. A length and a half, almost 2 lengths between them. Too much too soon, and then Super Grace. Jewel of Heaven to the outside. Lope Delado had to change course. Still back in fourth or fifth, 3 or 4 lengths off the leader. Willingham is full bore. 150 to go, too much too soon. Lope Delado's trying to pick up, and then Jewel of Heaven. Here's Lope Delado surging through the middle. It's a 3-way go, but Lope Delado got through just in the nick of time to beat Too Much Too Soon and Willingham. They were followed by, in behind those runners, Mareth running on, Jewel of Heaven, and then Conical Net. In behind those was Astari, and then Fedora towards the back, Parish Priest, Super Grace. And one of the last in was Akaya. Would have been something licked had it not been able to get that path, and Craig Williams has brought up an early double, but he needed to plot the right course. He was zigging and zagging, and he's been able to split the 2 leaders just when Too Much Too Soon had worn down Willingham. Lope Delado has shot through the middle to land some reasonable bets. At 370 into 320 favourite home in race 2. A 2-year-old with race experience. Majority of the field were having their first runs, and Lope Delado improving on that solid hit out a couple of weeks ago. Here's the numbers: 16, 19, 8, 17. 16, 19, 8 and 17. Interim numbers after the running of race 2. 113.52. The winning time. Long head by a long neck. Terrific finish.
So 16, Lope Delado is the earliest of doubles for Craig Williams. He's ridden the first two winners. They've both been favourites, but you've still got to get them home. And the divs are coming in. We'll clear these and go back to Jason and George with the grey areas. And they'll take you through to the next at Healesville at 12.34 with Victoria. Number 16, Lope Delado, $3 and $1.40. 19, Too Much Too Soon at $4.60. 8, Willingham at $2.60. And 17, Conical Net. The Quinella, $27. Exacta, $36. Trifecta, $184, and the first four, $1,169. 16, 19, 8, 17. The running double, 7 and 16, $8.40, boys.
So we've got George's tips under our belt for the Meadows Saturday, and if we've got plenty of full pockets around because of that, we can head to Echuca on Sunday. But a text come in, I have a tip for you and your listeners. Echuca races Sunday, race 2, number 8, Mythic. The mail is go well, and that is from our great friend Kenny in Cranbourne.
Well, we talk about football, mobland, darts. We might as well throw the thoroughbreds in too, Jay.
Echuca gallops on Sunday, and he landed one early too on Sunday, Kenny, so he's got a good eye for it.
He struck the first blow, didn't he?
He did. Drew blood. We went on with it. All right.
I'll tell you who the real hero was, Stevie.
Late in
old
the
man
day.
Stevie. Oh, jeez.
Got us out of that.
Yeah, he's
made for me and Johnny's pizza later in the night.
All right, Obscure Outlay. It won last week.
Yeah.
What do you got for us this week?
You know what? Off air, you were really keen on Sydney, and I nearly threw you guys in. I think you'll beat Port Adelaide, but
The
they're not in my
lineup looks
mighty.
different when you got Papley, Goulden, a tall forward in. Not that he's much chop, but he's in.
Oh,
different feeling to it.
Bit of a drive-by there.
I went a different way, but there's two that should just win, right? I think Geelong will beat Brisbane tonight. I think Collingwood will beat St Kilda tomorrow.
Go the Pies.
And I've taken North Melbourne at the line, plus 25.5 against Carlton.
Ooh.
It comes to about $3.20.
Which was about the sweet spot last week, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we're not going to get too greedy, but I've got a feeling North... I reckon I took the corresponding game on Good Friday, North against Carlton, and said they were a chance, and Carlton beat them by 14 goals.
Yeah.
So, a sucker.
The Carlton can be often sided by the stewards as well, as you mentioned before with
They're stewards
Essendon
report
and St
team,
Kilda.
are they?
You always
They
get
can
some.
be.
You always get some weird results mid-season.
Yeah.
You know,
When they get in cruise control.
mid-season
Things go wrong.
Before they ramp
turns
up
up
to
some
the
upsets
finals.
most years.
But you're confident with Collingwood, aren't you? You think that?
I think the Pies will win.
Yeah.
But that's not that's not a knock on St Kilda or their followers. I just think the Pies will be too strong for them.
All right, before we say farewell, let's get into the Ferrugia files for this Friday afternoon. Thanks to the Black Book on the Watchdog app. Now, you had Pax Bastonia run second in a maiden at big odds.
Did you see
at the
his
Meadows
run?
on Wednesday? No.
He ran 31.10, and trainer, my cousin Emily, said he looks like an elephant on roller skates. He's just so green. Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of others you had, we spoke about Johnny Football, which we missed on Wednesday. Now, Gold Scotch won at odds last night. Now, as we mentioned, you've got about 85 syndicates across Australasia, and I can't keep our eye on all of them. So we just want some transparency. We've been through this before. When we go through this list, we need to know where the winners are and not kept to yourself. So how's Tempting Dash going, by the way?
Still in a cast.
A cast?
Yeah.
She hurt herself.
Yeah. I told you that on Sunday, but you were a couple of sherbets
I wouldn't
deep.
remember
Come
that.
on,
Please.
Jason, listen.
Please.
You hear,
Key to
but
a
you
good
don't
relationship is listening.
Come on, Jason. Lift.
Well, I listened. I just didn't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Bendigo today, race 9, number 6, Pine Bluff. Last up
no
winner.
hope.
No hope?
No, it's a tough race.
Confidence
Can't
through
win.
the roof. Meadows tomorrow night, race 1, number 2, Billy Buster.
No, very tough race, place at best.
Race 5, number 1, Vital Step.
Yeah, pretty keen on him. Yeah, I like him over 600 metres. I like where he's drawn. If he doesn't fluff his lines early, he should be... Fled the Scene's a good dog, Jace, but I'm pretty confident there.
And you've got 2 in the same race against Zipping Grillis in the free-for-all. Valenzuela and Mapunga Peach in race 8.
There's the box draws for Peach and Valenzuela.
Oh, you're due for some dodgy ones, ain't you?
In the Farouge for all.
The Farouge for all.
I think Zipping Grillis will lead all the way in that race. Valenzuela has been racing well without much luck, Jace. If I had to pick out of the two of them, he'd be the one.
And for the Sean Cosgrove fans, Healesville Sunday, race 3, number 2, Ringwald.
She made it through to the final. We watched her while we were at the Mail Exchange, run third. Probably a place chance, I'd say.
Ballarat
Sorry, Cozzy.
Monday. Ballarat Monday, race 9, number 3, Articulate.
No. Place.
What a way to finish off. So Vital Step is the best of him, race 5, number 1 at the Meadows.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Magnificent. All right, that's a busy edition of Grey Areas. That's a wrap, George. Try and have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, guys.
Just quickly for the NBA fans, looks like we're going to a Game 7 the Pacers are smashing the Thunder. So Game 7 in the NBA. I know you're a big basketball fan, Jace. Thought I'd just throw that in.
Am I? Wouldn't have a clue what's going on. I am looking forward to listening to John Henry this afternoon and tomorrow, though. That'll be magnificent to my
You're
eardrums.
very kind.
All right, have a good weekend, everyone out there. We'll be back on Wednesday to preview what will be a big Thursday night at the Q and everything else happening around town. This is race 6 at Hillsville. The favourite is the 3, Need You Now. Odds on. Here's Vic for the 6.
The wider part of the track from box 2 last week, so posted in box